Hello and welcome to Reflections. I'm Reverend Shireen, and today we're going to be using two decks that I don't think used together before. I've used them both individually, but the Wisdom of the Tarot, or the Wisdom of the Oracle by Colette and Reid, and the Psychic Tarot for the Heart by Holland. And they just felt right today, so that'll be interesting as I'm looking at the messages. A couple things have come up for me. Just, they arise. They just arise for me, and I look at them. And one of them strongly has to do with relationships, communication, growth, all of those kinds of things. And the second one has to do with honoring yourself and allowing yourself, what it takes to allow yourself room to grow. And I'll tell you, I'm going to start the second one. It's not always comfortable to give yourself space, room to allow yourself to grow. Part of the reason I started Limitless Spirit was to have that freedom to have space to explore myself, to grow as a spirit, to serve through what I offer, help others grow, but also to have a flexibility in there that allows me to maybe even not take an appointment for a whole week. Allows me space to write or to work on the Oracle deck I'm building. All of those things, I knew I needed that space to grow, but it's not always comfortable when I'm also trying to ground a schedule and say when I offer appointments and when I want to be at events and when I'm trying to create other things. So it's not comfortable, but it is allowing me to have the space I need when I respect both that space and the need to honor commitments. And it's just a balancing act. But I just speak to that because I was seeing in other people around me them hitting those constraints of wanting to grow, wanting to change, and being even okay with the process of things changing, but not having much room in their life to allow for that evolution without disrupting everything, without totally putting everything into chaos. And so then they resist allowing themselves to transform, which actually brings us to the first, which I'm now doing second, thing about relationships. And I'm talking here relationships with your friends, relationships with your family, and relationships with your significant other. All of those, there's a fallacy or a fantasy in this world that we are not completely ourselves without the input or the connection to others. I don't even want to say connection, but it's like somehow others have a missing piece of ourselves that we can only have through them. That's the lie. The truth is you are wholly yourself, and you can only relate to someone else authentically when you are wholly yourself and they are wholly themselves. And the piece that is gained is not an aspect of you, but it is the beauty of what is created between you, that relationship. And there are things to value and treasure about that, but don't ever believe that it's that other person that's making you whole. You are always whole, and you have to have room in a relationship for both of you to be whole, complete, full together, and create then new things. Create the space and the bubble for enjoyment and passion and excitement and following your dreams and supporting one another. But that comes from a place of wholeness first, which is hard to hear sometimes, especially if you're feeling not whole. Because then your job is to go within and to connect with Source, the God or Goddess of your heart, and be fully present with that and find the pieces that are missing within yourself. That's a hard journey. It's much easier to say, oh, that person's going to give it to me. But that's the lie. No one can make you happy. No one can make you whole. Those are your jobs. So, all right. that got a little intense pretty fast, but I knew that that message had been kind of circling around me for a couple weeks. So we're going to start with the wisdom of the oracle, and I'm just going to connect to all of your guys' energy, the questions, the things you want to look at that applies then to us as a group, as a collective, and your interpretation for yourself of what I hear applies to you. So maybe the blessings we meet, whatever happens during this reading will benefit each of us in our spiritual growth, awareness, understanding, and the beauty of creating our lives. Amen. All right. Peace. There is a concept, and I guess today I'm kind of just looking at some of the fallacies and the concepts that we have, that peace is that moment where there is nothing turbulent going on, where you can just relax, not worry. And there's certainly elements of that when you can be out in nature or be in your house and there's nothing impinging on your bubble, certainly can feel peaceful. But I see this card as a calling for you to be able to create your own sanctuary of peacefulness, no matter what the circumstances are. For you to be able to go within and be in your own egg, be in your own bubble, create that thing for yourself, no matter, and not be circumstance reliant. And I think that that's really the key there with that card today. And new life. And I don't see this as birth. I don't see this as giving birth to something. I see this as embracing your creativity, embracing what you've already created, and allowing yourself, you know, that room to grow, that ability to grow into a new phase, a new life. I believe many of us have had many lives in this one lifetime, plus other lifetimes. But you know, I look back at myself at 23 and who I was then, what was going on. It was a whole different life than what I have now, you know. So allow yourself to look at each day being brand new and being present with it, being what you are and allowing things to be what they are and being present and full there. And I think it goes along with making that sanctuary for yourself. So I'm going to switch to the psychic tool of the heart and see what comes up there. I love telling stories with these. Okay, guys. I know. The red deck really just wanted to speak and speak and speak, but well-deserved reward is the card. It's the 9 of the physical suit. It did come up upside down, and oftentimes I don't pay attention to that, although recently some of them have felt more significant, and I'm just looking here to see, and this one just presents both. You're in a place of receiving back what you have created. And in that regard, you're receiving back your well-deserved reward. Whatever you have put out there and created is coming back to you. Sometimes it feels like this because in the process of creating, we may have been creating from a fearful place or not fully with the whole intent of what we wanted to create. And so what we get back feels not as good as what we wanted. But it is just. You are getting back your well-deserved rewards. So if you can be neutral with it, I'm just going to turn it sideways to represent that, neutral with it and recognize all the beauty and all of the wonderful things that you're receiving back as a direct result of what you put out there, then it's easier to look at the things that aren't coming back the way you wanted and not judge them, but just kind of look at where that's coming from. Because as soon as you are aware of what is causing things to come back not quite the way, then you can make the shift. And I'm not talking necessarily shift in actions on the physical plane. I'm talking shifts in action internally. The energy comes first always. What you put out, what you get back, what you create, what you receive, all of that starts first as energy. Inspiration, creativity, imagination, they all go together to plant the seeds. Then your intention and your action grow the seeds, and then the seeds grow and harvest and you get them back. But whatever energy you are in when you are creating, that's the energy that's going to go into what comes back. So if you are creating from a space of fear, or creating from a space of lack, or creating from a space of frustration, the things that come back may elevate you beyond where you are, but there will be elements still of that fear and that frustration and things. And I'm not saying that any of us is perfect. Again, it's just about awareness. So that when you get things back and they're not quite everything that you had set your intent on or your intention with, it's just an awareness of where it comes from. So, one more. And love abounds. Love abounds. Truly, even in all the chaos that's going on out in the world, and I can't even turn on the television news or the internet news or any of that. I can barely stand to scroll through my Facebook page and connect with friends and family because there's just so much chaos and ugliness that's being brought forth. But I know, because I've looked at it and I've prayed about it, that underneath it all is this desire to elevate, this desire to have love be what connects us, to have love be ever present. And to do that, sometimes you have to shake off all of the crap. And in order to shake off all the crap, you got to be able to see the crap. And so it's rising to the surface and it's in our face so that we can make new and different choices. Going back to that, we get back the energy that we create from. So if you want to see the world resound in love, you got to be there. You got to be in love with it. And if you are there in fear with it, that's what you're going to see back. So love abounds. I truly believe that. Truly believe that was all that was ever intended, was for us to feel love for one another, to feel love for this planet, to be connected, and to have that feeling, and it's there. And that's why, you take everything out and you meet somebody on the street and you talk to them, and it doesn't matter what their views are. If you can connect with them on a personal level and hear their story and understand their perspective, then the connection is formed and love abounds. So allow yourself to be in love with yourself. Allow yourself to have the room to grow, to be able to create your own sanctuary, to have the new life you are creating, and to recognize that you are creating it and you're receiving it in perfect timing, in perfect order for your growth. So take care, be blessed. We'll see you next time.